Hello and welcome to LFC Focus. It is transfer news time as Michael Edwards and the rest of the transfer committee at Liverpool have gone absolutely berserk over the last 24 hours. We've spent the last 31 days, the whole of January, being told that there was no money for a centre-half, that Liverpool weren't buying a centre-half, that Jurgen Klopp was putting up with the options that he was given, and suddenly we have been linked with half of the centre-half population of Europe. We'll kick things off with the deals that are either done or pretty much done or are looking very, very likely. And of course, the first name that surfaced yesterday was Ben Davies of Preston, who Liverpool have pretty much guaranteed to have signed by now. There's of course been no official announcement, nothing on the club's Twitter or social media channels or websites or anything like that. But all the most trusted journalists, including people, at the very highest tier of transfer trustworthiness, if you kind of buy into all that idea, have said that this one's done. People like Paul Joyce, James Pearce have been laying out the details of the agreement. It's looking like 2 million was the initial quoted fee, but it's now looking like Liverpool are only paying 500 million up front. I think it's meant to be not 500 million, sorry, that's berserk. That'll get you every centre half in Europe. £500,000 up front, which is a much more reasonable fee, and then 1.1 million in add-ons. You'd imagine maybe those add-ons are probably quite achievable, just stuff based around appearances and stuff like that. They've also put in a 20% sell-on fee, so Preston probably very aware that regardless of how many games he plays for Liverpool, we will probably sell him for a profit. It's interesting, one of the reasons that the fee is so low and Preston have been so less reluctant to actually do a deal on this is because he only has half a year left on his contract, and he already had, he was having discussions with Celtic and people like that about a pre-contract agreement to leave on a free in the summer, so they're probably weighing up the situation. They're in the middle of the championship, so it'd be very difficult for them to maintain a promotion charge. They're not really in any danger of being relegated, so it doesn't affect their season too badly if he goes, and at least this way they make a bit of money off of him. And like I said, the 20% sell-on fee, Liverpool tend to sell players for a profit, especially when they get deals like this. Looking back at some of the lads like Solanke and Jordan Ibe that we've sold to Bournemouth, Mamadou Sakho goes for a pretty decent profit, even though he was basically being shoved out of the door by Liverpool. Michael Edwards, very good at negotiating low fees for players he's signing, very good at negotiating high fees for players that he's selling. So the deal kind of makes sense for all the parties, and that whole thing about him only having half a year left on his contract should ease a few nerves, because I think what it shows is that 2 million is not a reflection of Ben Davies' ability, and if you speak to anyone involved with Preston in any way, they will back that up. There was talk of them potentially trying to sell him in the summer for a fee in the region of at least 10 million quid, and that hopefully is at least closer to a reflection of his ability. But one of the good things as well is he sounds like a Liverpool centre-half from what little we've heard. He's apparently very quick, very comfortable on the ball, started out as a left-back as well, so he can pass the ball, take it forward, but also has the pace as well, which is required. You'd maybe worry that a player coming from the Championship might be a bit of a grok, might be a bit of, to use a FIFA term, someone around 30 pace or 40 pace who's not going to be able to keep up with the Premier League. Of course, it's not just your physical ability, it's your mental ability and your positioning and stuff like that. There's the chance that you could get caught out at the very highest level on that regard. We've seen players like Reece Williams and Nat Phillips have to adapt to that side of things. It's not just about your natural pace, it is also about your ability to read the game, and that is something that will only be clear once he starts playing games for Liverpool, which is hopefully soon. It'll be interesting to see exactly how quickly he gets thrown into the side. Of course, we've got the Brighton game on Wednesday, maybe without any real time on the training ground. That comes a little bit too soon. You think Henderson and Phillips performed fine in the game against West Ham, so you maybe just leave it as it is for that. But then of course it's Manchester City on Sunday. Is that too big a game to chuck someone in? Of course it depends how he trains, what kind of regard he's already being held in by the staff before he even arrives at the club. I'm sure there will already be an idea of when they're going to start him and whether he gets used in that match or whether we save him for the next weekend. And of course, we've got Champions League games coming up against RB Leipzig as well that he may end up being a part of. But the good news is he has, pardon me, almost definitely signed for Liverpool. All that we're really waiting for now is the official confirmation, which of course does take a little bit of time. They've got to do interviews, photo shoots and all that stuff to make as much out of the announcement as possible. But as I said, people like Paul Joyce and James Pearce, all the most reputable journalists in and around the club, have basically said that this one's done. And I'm pretty sure it's even been in the Liverpool will echo as well. It is just a matter of the official announcement being made. And another deal which has moved at the speed of light today, and one of the reasons that I've kind of held off making any videos about the transfer situation until now, because it has just been having updates pretty much every single half an hour, is Ozan Kabak from Schalke. Now, this is a player that we've known a little bit more about Liverpool's interest in. It was mentioned a little bit over the summer as well, kind of in passing, around about the same time that we were signing Jota and Thiago, and everyone went a little bit transfer mad. And it was also thrown in there that we were looking at Ozan Kabak. One of the stumbling points then was that Schalke were looking for a fee in the region of about 40 million quid or something like that. Of course, now circumstances have changed. Their financial situation, as it was revealed kind of publicly recently, is not great at the moment. They need to get some money into the club, and they are also pretty much resigned to getting relegated now. Anyone who's watched any Schalke this season, or even has just looked at the Bundesliga table recently, can see that they are on their way down into the second tier. So they're very much resigned to the fact that they're probably going to lose Ozan Kabak. We know that he is someone that's been on Liverpool's radar for a while, so if we weren't going to buy him now, we probably would have looked at him in the summer for a little bit of a cut price fee. The good news is Liverpool have again done a little bit of a financial diddle on this one, and he is at first only coming in on a half-season loan with an option, not an obligation, to buy in the summer, which is probably one of the crucial sticking points of the deal. It's the main thing that we've been negotiating on today. Apparently, that's why we're only just getting the deal over the line now. Schalke wanted us to be obligated to buy, of course, the idea essentially being that it helps Liverpool get around the finances because they don't have to stump up all the money up front, as we saw with the Thiago and Jota deals in the summer. We've been very reluctant to do that, and that's what's led us to walk away from a few deals. You know, Werner earlier on in the summer, and I think a few other centre-halves that we've been linked with over the last few days and weeks. We don't want to be, stumping all the money up front. We do want to be a little bit more careful and cunning with how we spend it. And crucially, of course, as I said, it's an obligation to buy. It would be 18 million. If we did want to buy him in summer, we're paying an initial 1 million up front as a loan fee. So they're not, left empty-handed as he leaves. But the good thing is we have got that try before you buy clause in there, essentially. And especially given the fact that if Matip recovers and stays at Liverpool in the long term, although that's a little bit up in the air at the moment, I think, because of his fitness situation, and should Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk both recover completely from their injuries and be absolutely fine, we don't really want to be left with this an absolute wealth of centre-half options, and these two lads are both coming in a good way. Ben Davies obviously at 2 million. It's a little bit of a punt, it's a little bit of a gamble, but a low risk, high reward one, where, listen, if he's not that good, we only bought him for a small amount of money. He might not even end up playing that many games if he's not even that good, and the add-ons will probably not come into effect there, and then we can sell him for a bit of a profit in summer, almost definitely, simply because he must be better than the 2 million valuation, because that has obviously only been brought down because of his contract situation. And then with Ozan Kabak as well, if he's good, then great, we keep him, and when we work out what to do from there. If he's rubbish, send him back to Schalke and he can enjoy life in the Bundesliga too. So the Kabak one looks like it's almost definitely going to be over the line as well. Slightly further back than the Davies one, which has had all but official confirmation. It feels like maybe there's a few more details to be thrashed out there. There's been talk that his medical has taken place, and as he's passed the first stages of that with flying colours, which is obviously going to be a very important consideration when we think about signing centre-halves. We do not want to get stung again. We do not want Ben Davies and Ozan Kabak to both line up for their first game for Liverpool and to break both of their legs in the first 5 minutes or anything like that. We've had enough centre-half injuries to last a lifetime this season. So Ben Davies pretty much done. Kabak pretty much over the line. There are, of course, a little bit of apprehension around Kabak because, of course, as I said, Schalke are a bit naff this season. They have been shipping goals like nobody's business, and there's obviously the concern that is he responsible for that? Is he part of the reason why they are doing so badly? But it is worth pointing out that pretty much everything that can be wrong at Schalke at the moment is wrong. The hierarchy is a complete mess. They've been hiring and firing coaches at a ridiculous rate, and pretty much everyone on that pitch has been struggling. It's not just people like Ozan Kabak. It will still be a step up and a challenge for him to come from that kind of mentality and that kind of team to the champions who are still fighting for the title. It'll probably be a different style of play as well, but as we have seen in the past, Liverpool have not shied away from signing players from relegated or relegated clubs to be in Kabak and Schalke's case, and generally it's worked out. You know, Gini Van Alden, brilliant footballer. Andrew Robertson, brilliant footballer. Xherdan Shaqiri, not a constant starter, but for 13 million quid, the quality we all know he has to have that option there, and he was pretty decent yesterday as well, puts in a beautiful ball for Mo Salah. These players are no mugs. You can get very good deals buying people from relegated clubs, and here's hoping, fingers crossed, touching wood, all the rest of it, that Kabak is yet another one of those. And there is still talk that we may be in for someone else. There's been chat of David Carno from Braga. Apparently the issue with that was that he has a 30 million release clause in his Braga contract, and they've basically said you can pay that or you can get lost. Liverpool have reportedly made offers, although there is maybe the argument that that could have all just been a smokescreen to try and get everyone to lower their prices. I think what we've been doing by being linked with every centre-half in Europe has kind of worked out in our favour, because it's stopped people charging us a premium price because of the fact that we are absolutely desperate for some central defenders, because they know that we could just potentially go elsewhere. And also by getting people on deadline day, you can get them to kind of make impulse decisions on prices and stuff like that. And also going for players who are in particular situations that make them cheaper, like Ben Davies with his contract, and like Ozan Kabak with the almost definite relegation situation at Schalke. So there is also talk of, I can't remember his name, caleta-car yeah, that's the one. Caleta-car from Olympique Marseille. Again, the stickling point there was that they wanted to bring a new defender in to replace him before they could be comfortable about selling him to Liverpool. There was a similar thing with the Kabak deal at Schalke, but they managed to get Mustafi, whose contract had basically been thrown in the bin and flushed down the toilet by Arsenal, so they've managed to get him in as a replacement for Kabak for the rest of the season. There's chat of Marseille maybe trying to sign someone else who could replace caleta-car, so that deal may not be dead at the moment. That, I think, is more one where it's someone that Liverpool were probably thinking of signing in the summer, in the same vein of like Upamecano and other centre-backs that have been on our radar for a while. And then we thought, well, listen, if the deal is there to be done, then we'd be open to doing it. And of course, Marseille have probably come back and said, well, listen, if we can get a backup in and you stump up the right kind of money, the right kind of deal, then we'll talk. But in the meantime, obviously, Liverpool have gone elsewhere, signed Davies, signed Kabak. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if they signed caleta-car as well, but I'm pretty happy with the options we've already got. Of course, as I said, Nat Phillips performed well against West Ham. Hopefully Fabinho is back sooner rather than later. The situation is less good for the other lads, Matip and, of course, Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez. But bringing in two backup centre-halves when we thought we weren't going to get any is a pretty good return on transfer deadline day. Although, as I said, watch this space because it may not be done just yet. But in the meantime, that is all for this video. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, as always, you know what to do. Hit the like button down there. Hit that subscribe button there, which is just underneath the now fallen flag. If you're new around here, check out some of the other videos that have been out on the channel over the past few days. Don't forget to follow at LFCFocusTV on Twitter. And I'll be back either with some transfer news or with the pre-match content for the Brighton game. Until then, bye for now.